Welcome. Welcome. I'm so stoked that you're here. I'm so stoked that you're listening. Words can't describe how much I love you and how much I appreciate your support. Gotta get a sip of water because I'm about to be talking a lot. That's for sure. I'm excited. Thanks for tuning into all of this. I know it's probably going to be a little lengthy episode, but I promise you it's going to be worth it. Since I am launching the Conscious Creators Kingdom, I will plug that first. It's basically a collective group dedicated to artists and business owners that want to tap into their creativity and full expressive nature. So, that being said, you want to write a book, you want to make music, you want to paint, you want to uh, create books dedicated to children. You want to create toys. You want to make something with your hands, digitally, whatever. The Conscious Creators Kingdom is made for that. It's for you to embody your true self, your true regal uh, entity, king or queen. You need to take your throne. And that throne, your kingdom, could be your family, your business, but it all starts with your art and it starts with your creativity. And that's what we're going to tap into. And there's 4 pillars that I'm going to go over real quick. One is technology resourcing. Technology resourcing is how to automate and outsource your business using technology. Because a lot of people in the spiritual community specifically demonize technology. And I can see why. And I can see where the AI is detrimental in those things. But it's only to automate your tasks and also to create full equity and full income for yourself. So it even goes beyond AI. I'm talking about NFTs. Technology resourcing, what I'm selling is new kids on the block. What God is creating is NFTs for you. Because NFTs, you get full IP, you get full intellectual property, you get full income off of the first sale. And then, you get residual income off of the sales after that. So you could get 10%, 20%, depending on the platform. You literally have income off of every sale. So when someone resells your NFT, you're always making money off of that sale. So it's forever income, it's residual income, and it's yours because it's your property. That's what technology resourcing is all about. Next, logical mind mapping. That is taking your mind and mapping out your business, your thoughts, your art in a logical way where your dream can become reality, because step 1 is always mapping your thoughts. And that's what the Conscious Creators Kingdom is going to teach you. Next, sacral expansion. Sacral expansion is so key. It's honestly my favorite part, and honestly, like being tapped into a couple of coaches and mentors have been able to tap into my sacral chakra, and I will go in how my sacral chakra has actually expanded and strengthened over my lifetime to a degree where I feel like I can become creative at a massive level, and I know that I can share that with other people as well. But the sacral expansion is going to be a Conscious Creators Kingdom offering as well, because we'll do 2 calls each month. One is dedicated to the mind mapping, one is dedicated to the sacral expansion. So that's the important aspect. And then the last one is going to be regal embodiment. And regal embodiment is very key because I don't have a service out yet. But basically what it's going to be your asset protection. Regal embodiment is being so embodied spiritually that your 3D realm is going to turn into a kingdom where it turns into wealth, it turns into status, it turns into, a partner, kids, a household, asset protection. And that means protecting you and protecting your art. So that's going to embody creating record labels, art studios, book publishing companies, the works. That's what Regal Embodiment is all about. And I want you to be a part of it. So, that being said, let's do it. Let's do this thing. Where did it start? It started when I was a kid. I was having fun. I was living life to the fullest. I was being fully expressive, fully creative. I was playing outside, playing sports. I was making art. I was writing. I was reading. I was watching TV shows. Like, I was just being a kid. And when I was 7, I developed a pain in my hamstring, and that pain would turn into something a lot worse. And I had night sweats for a week, chills, fever. Like, this leg pain was just ridiculous. It wouldn't stop. So I finally went to the hospital, went to the emergency room with my mother, did a bunch of blood work. It was an anomaly because my white blood cell count was really high, but my other blood cells were very low. So it was very dangerous. So the doctors were telling me, we got to send you to St. Louis Children's. So I went to St. Louis Children's because the pediatric care was next level. And I got the bone marrow biopsies that were needed because they took my blood work and they thought it was strange as well. And they needed to do more analysis and more research. Well, little did I know this was going to transpire to be something bigger than just leg pain and night sweats and fevers and all that. It turned out I was diagnosed with acute lymphocytic leukemia. So acute lymphocytic leukemia, I guess, to simplify this, for those of you that may not just look up all these different cancers, right? Because it's tough to I mean, to be honest, it's tough to pinpoint where all these come from. So leukemia is a blood related disease. It's a blood related cancer, and it starts in your bone marrow. That's where they create your cells. And there was a slight mutation in the white blood cell, in the pre-B white blood cell. And it multiplied and multiplied and multiplied, where all these mutated cells started killing off my platelets, my red blood cells, some like healthy white blood cells. I feel like there's one more. Platelets, red blood cells, white blood cells. I don't know. I haven't taken those courses in a while, but basically it started killing off all my healthy cells, and that's why my body was shutting down. So I had to pretty much respond. My body had to respond pretty quickly in terms of like I had to get chemotherapy right away, bone marrow biopsies, bone marrow. I think I had a transplant too. I know I had blood transfusions. So basically, I was taking, needles, medicines, the grossest, most painful toxins in my body for, well, 2.5 years. But when I was in the hospitals, it was a month of just every day, just some needle went in me. And it was tough. Like, it was really tough. But spiritually, it was betrayal of my own body. Like my body betrayed itself. My mind and body betrayed each other. Like it was a civil war within my own nervous system, which it's crazy to think about when I've gone through all this spiritual research now to figure this out. I was like, no way. Like I'm addicted to betrayal. My curse, my generational curse is being betrayed, whether it's myself, other people, business relationships, personal relationships, intimate relationships, whatever the case may be. I am addicted to betrayal. And once I figured that out, I said, wow, like it dates back literally to leukemia. So, yeah, did treatment for 2.5 years, got better, was in, been in remission since 2000 and let's see, so I was diagnosed in June of 04, released December of 06. Yeah, so 2.5 years. Been in remission since then. So is that 17 years, 16 years, something like that. And I feel great. There was just a lot of things that happened in my life that made my life different from, every other kid's. I had to stay inside a lot more. I had to take a lot of naps, which actually definitely not complaining about that. But I had to take a lot of naps. I had to step away from school, step away from sports, step away from everyday matrix events. And to be honest, like that was tough. I had to spend a lot of times isolated from people besides my own family, my own mother and father, my siblings too. But I was isolated. think I think that's why it's correlated to a lot of isolation points in my life. I've actually been able to handle that. But basically, I had to fill my time with more than just TV and video games. Now, granted, did I play video games and watch TV? Absolutely. I loved movies. That's why I really got into movies. But I really got into drawing comic books and characters. I also got into writing, like short stories, creative stories, and a little bit of poetry. Actually, was was what I really tapped into. So yeah, it was a great, like, it wasn't a great experience, but it was a great learning lesson on how to really tap into your mind, body, soul, and like release all that energy that I had pent up. Because another key point why I talked about the sacral, when you get chemotherapy, they take a long syringe, long needle, and they jab it right into your sacrum, which your sacrum is like where your spinal cord is located, because they had to get into your spinal fluid, which is why my nervous system is a little sensitive compared to other people's. So I have to really watch out what I do with my like exercising, my eating, drinking alcohol, like, or any drug use, because my nervous system can get very out of whack. So I have to stay even keel. So they took a syringe and jammed that shit into my sacrum. So my sacrum was on fire, or my sacrum was just getting, well, pounded. Like, to put it in a simple term, like my sacrum was getting pounded by this needle. And it's wild because I didn't think about the spiritual energetics behind that. But when you take a lot of trauma to a chakra, like a whole chakra, that like is a muscle. Like that's muscle testing. but it's like energetic testing. So like taking that needle and taking a toxin right into the chakra made my chakras a lot like or it made my sacral chakra expand more, or like take more energy, because it had to. I had to take more energy because that was a literal toxin getting put into my body. So I have like this like veiny bicep of a sacral chakra, and it can take a lot of force. So that means when I tap into it, I can tap into this bottled up energy. And I have a theory too that whatever trauma you resonate with as a kid or resonate with the most, tap into that chakra and see like what you can get out of it, because I want to know like if other people tap into this energy on such a profound level compared to like their other chakras, because I don't tap into my other chakras like I do with my sacral. It's just it's vastly different, wildly different. But it's really cool though, just to connect with God on that level. So taking that energy and putting it into, like, as a kid, creative activities. It's why like I came up with comic book superheroes. It's why like I came up with these wild short stories. It's why I came up with some crazy poems, and was like able to do these things creatively because of what my energy was able to hold. So pretty profound stuff. And getting past leukemia, I really developed a sense of pride and maybe like a sense of ego. So if you fast forward 2.5 years, get done with treatment, I went to Disney World, did all the things, met all the sports players, did the charity events as the honored hero, um, did the school assemblies where I got to do locks of love and like cut people's hair and do all the things where a lot of attention was on me, which can definitely subconsciously put put a sense of ego. And I think it kind of did that for a little bit, because it's funny, I was a middle child, or I am a middle child, I should say. So the joke is the middle children don't get the attention, but I did get a fair amount of attention as a child because I had cancer, and people were worried about me, right? So when people are worried about me, like, they're always, you know, asking me what's up. So get past that. Life was pretty smooth sailing till I would say I was 11, or yeah, I was 11. So get done with treatment, life's good. And then when I'm 11, I face a traumatizing situation, um, with someone, and it really burned me inside, and it was a betrayal because it was someone I deeply care about very much. And I think going through that memory, I suppressed it as a child, uh, but when I got through that trauma, that harsh period, or that harsh moment, um, I was able to keep living life like as a kid. But then I got to middle school, and I carried that sexual trauma with me, um, and that betrayal then leaned into more betrayal in middle school, where I was bullied significantly into deep isolation, to where I had to get counseling because I was so depressed and I had no friends. And I was like, I don't know if I even want to like be here anymore, be alive. And that's really dark, when you're 12, right? So I went to counseling for actually a second time because I got therapy. I got a counselor after my grandmother died of lung cancer when I was going through leukemia. So I was 9. No, I was 8 when she died. So I had counseling when I was 8, and then I got counseling again when I'm like 12 after being bullied. So going through that isolation period, I leaned into creativity more because like being bullied in middle school, like uh, I felt like I had to create my own fun. Like I had to have fun with myself. And granted, like I have my brother though, which was great. But my brother's got friends too, and obviously my younger sister's got friends. Um, I had my next door neighbor who was around my age, but he's got friends too. So it's not like I can always rely on like other people for entertainment, right? So I really got into writing, and that's when I got into poetry, and I started writing all these poems. I started writing about prayer and visualizing. I actually would. It's funny. I would astral project as a child, and I would talk about like seeing angels and like talking to. I thought it was God, which actually I guess it is God, but it was like my higher self, and I was talking to this entity. It was like this bright light, and I would talk to these angels, which they weren't usually like human angels, but it was just like these like beings, and they had like wings, but it wasn't like the scary TikTok angels that people talk about where it's got like the thousand like eyes just like floating around. It wasn't like that, but it was just like these like angel wings with like, but it was like a sphere. It's like another sphere of light, and I would talk to these entities. uh and I think like God was protecting me through this gift because of what was going on in my 3D realm, which was almost a depiction of hell or purgatory. Um, because when I was like, I was sick, and then I go through this, sexual trauma, and then I go through being bullied. Like, it felt like hell on earth. Like, I was going through literal, demons at the time. Uh, like, I was like having nightmares and like seeing, demons in my sleep, especially when I was sick because, I was taking like opiates. So like it was really lowering my state of consciousness. So I was like in the shame, guilt, fear levels of vibration. So like my vibration was super low, and it was projecting into my 3D realm, and I didn't even realize it. Um, but that's what was happening. And then I was like connecting with God through this prayer. So like I'm really thankful for God, and that's why I try to have such a deep connection with God, because of like he was there. If I didn't have God and I wasn't praying to God, I would have been dead at a young age through like all these things. So that's why I always shout out God. I always give glory to him. That's why I always say that he's the creator of all this, not me. It's all him. Like it's all him. Conscious Creators Kingdom is all him. New Kids on the Block, all him. The next piece of my business, all him, because it's not my business, it's God's business. And that's what he's doing. These other projects I'm working on, that's God speaking through me. I am just a messenger. Nothing more, nothing less either. Dang. So it's pretty wild. So I get through middle school, right? So I'm doing the prayer, I'm doing the poems, all these things. And actually I submitted a poem to, it was like this contest. The book was called Acclaimed. It was like the National Writers Society, or I think it was the National Writers Society. And it was through my school, like my grade school. So I submitted it and I won. I was published in the book, and I think I got put into a prize pool as well. Um, So it was like really cool, like having a published work in a book. Um, whether it was legit or not sure, but it gave me the confidence. And the reason I say this is because when I was leaving middle school in 8th grade, my English teacher told me, Cooper, you will be a mediocre writer, maybe a good writer, but you'll never be a great writer. You will never be great at writing. And I was like, fuck that. Sorry, I had to make a light of it. Fuck that, though. Fuck that noise. So I said, fuck that noise. I didn't actually say that because I was literally in 8th grade. But I said, fuck that noise. And I continued writing, and I kept submitting to different contests, and I was getting published in like these different books, and like it was like small prize money because you're a kid, so obviously they're going to take advantage of your work. But it was a good confidence boost, and it's so funny just looking back on all of it, and just thinking like, wow, like I could have really just let that defeat me, and I could have just said I'll never write ever again outside of like school assignments. But I said nah, and I went to high school and did my thing in high school. Had a good time, made some good friends. I really enjoyed my high school experience. Dated a girl for 2 years. uh I really do appreciate her and everything she taught me. She is a really great person, and she's actually married, which I'm super happy for her. Like that's that's incredible. She's married to the guy that she met. They were best friends in high school when we were dating, and then they dated after we broke up, and now they're married. And I'm like, I'm actually happy for him. And I say that because, and I'm saying this because everything that happens in your life happens for a reason. And that's come a long way from sitting in the victimhood of everything. I used to tell myself I'm a victim of all these things, but I'm not a victim. Like, that's all in my head. Like, nobody can hurt me. I can only hurt myself. Once I adopted that mindset, I've let go of so many things, and this relationship was one of those things. Um, Instead of just like pointing the finger or saying what if or whatever, I'm just happy for her, and I'm really glad that she's got her life partner, and I hope for a forever marriage or forever union with those two. So anyway, getting to the end of high school, uh, I had a couple scholarships for football. It's what I wanted to do. That's what I thought I wanted to do. But I went to Quincy University, played college football for all 4 years. I was injured for most of it, but I tore my labrum, and that's why I sat out a lot, because I tore it my freshman year, tried to keep going, and then sophomore year I got surgery. So I didn't get to play my first 2 years, which was a real bummer. But like I said, it kept me off like off one aspect of life, because to correlate it back to my cancer story, I did a lot of things in the community that were just as important as what anyone accomplished on the field as well. So getting, I guess, to the more details of it, basically going from high school, my senior year, I raised money for Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. We did a week-long campaign called like Pennies for Patients is what it was called. And we raised like, I think it was like $5,000 in that 1 week, which was really cool. Like I felt a lot of support from my buddies at DeSmet, and we did this assembly, and the assembly was really awesome. I got to speak in front of all my peers, teachers, faculty. So I spoke in front of, I'm trying to think at the time, I want to say it was like 1,500 people, maybe something like that. And speaking to that many people would scare the absolute shit out of me. But I had God come over me and speak, and I was shaking leading up to it. I thought I was gonna like shit myself because I was so nervous. But then, like when my name was called and I had to step in front of these people, I felt God, and my nerves just melted away. And then I spoke, and it didn't even feel like I spoke. It wasn't me; it was God. Like my heart and my mind were like blank, but I was like saying words, and people were getting into it. And that's and that's like just another moment where I'm like, fuck, that is God. That is just all God, and it's just cool to be tapped into that once again. Um, so then getting to college when I was injured, I was raising money for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society again, called the Student of the Year campaign. So I did it spring, my freshman year of college, spring, my sophomore year of college. The first year, I sold like t-shirts, and I just reached out to people via email and like all these things. And I was just like, I'll raise like, $5,000-$10,000. So I raised $25,000 that first year, which was really fun. And it was like a competition. So it was like me and like four other people. And I was the runner up. The person that came in first raised, I think it was $30,000. He really put on a good campaign. So I did it the next year, and I raised, I want to say it was $33,000, and I was the runner up again. But I was told, hey, you should go for that $50,000 portfolio. I think it would mean a lot to you for leukemia. So I was like, sure. So I worked my ass off that summer, and I hit the $50,000 mark, which was insane to be in a room with other adults, because I was the youngest one there, and sitting in that room with people that raised, hundreds of thousands of dollars for charity. It felt like I belonged, but I definitely felt like, how did I even get to this point? Like, it was a surreal moment. And that was just another example of God working with God through God and eliminating the ego. So, yeah, that's freshman, sophomore year of college when football didn't really work out. So I worked on fundraising and just trying to be a person of the community. So junior, and I'm dating a girl at this time, and it definitely was not a healthy relationship for sure. A lot of unhealthy habits, a lot of arguments, and just not good, not good. But I I know she's doing well because I know the capability of where her heart is or can be, especially with the trauma that she endured in her life. I'm really proud of her just for still wanting to be alive and still wanting to actually make a difference in the world. I have a lot of respect for her and for that. And I know she's got a boyfriend too, which I'm like I said, super happy. Like I'm happy for her, and I'm hoping that they get married and they do their thing, and they're life partners too. Uh, like I said, no victim mindset. All love, all gratitude. Uh, so I broke that off sophomore year, and I basically went into this mode of publishing a book because I was just like, I've had this idea for a while. I do like writing. And this professor told me, publish a book. And I was like, I don't know if I got the confidence for that. Like, especially a football player, like writing poems, like, doesn't sound masculine. Like, I was caught up in this whole ego masculinity thing. So I was like, there's no way this motherfucker right here is publishing a book on poetry. But I said, fuck it. So I just did it. And so I wrote it sophomore year. I actually hand wrote it at nights before bed because my relationship wasn't going very well and I just needed like an outlet to like vent. And then junior year, I put like finishing touches on it. And summer junior year going into, I think it was senior year, I put it on Amazon. I self-published it. And I like added a little hype to it and like all these things. But I literally loved doing that whole process because like I felt like writing my poems. I felt like a rapper, like in the studio, like writing, to beats and like all these things and just writing my thoughts. And doing that gave me this sense of expressive freedom to be myself. And that's why I called the book Virtues and Vices, because like I have felt all the virtues and vices, like all the sins, the cardinal virtues, and then like the seven deadly sins. I felt all those things. I've experienced all those things, even though I was only 21 years old, and like I felt all that pain and I felt all that joy at the same time. So I expressed it on paper, and it wasn't life changing, money or whatever by any means, but putting that out there and like having people buy copies and like uh, write reviews and like share their thoughts on it, like it felt good because like I had people coming to me telling me like they were in a dark place and they read the book and like it gave them hope that there was God, or they gave them hope that they could heal, and it gave them hope that they can go see therapy, especially from like a man's point of view, or like men in general, because the healthy outlet for men wasn't really talked about, because like we were supposed to suppress our feelings, we weren't supposed to have emotions, and we're not supposed to feel, which controlling the emotions is crucial. However, suppressing is not controlling. Suppressing is a mechanism of defeat where when you suppress it, you're just going to explode later on. So, that being said, so I published the book. I got the feedback, went back to school senior year, graduated, had a bunch of things come up where had to go see therapy. Oh, and that's right, I saw therapy actually when I was dating that girl. Man, just the things that come up. Freshman sophomore year, sophomore year, I went to therapy, and my therapist challenged me about my relationship with my girlfriend at the time. She didn't tell me to necessarily break it off, but my therapist was like, "You need to evaluate the relationship that you're in." So that's it did lead to the decision of the breakup. So, anywho, I went back to this person my senior year, and it was really hard. Like I honestly was like, I'm back again, and she of course was like, "Oh, I'm glad you're back," and I'm just like, I'm not glad I'm back, but she she really helped me, and I appreciate her so much. And I got in that dark hole again, but what helped me get out of that hole was she told me to get back into writing, even after publishing that book. And that's when I started The Good and the Evil, was even right after publishing Virtues and Vices. But the thing was, The Good and the Evil took more time because like I was going piece by piece and I was feeling through what I was writing in the actual moment. Virtues and Vices was just like things I was reminiscing on. The Good and the Evil was more of a present moment feeling experience. So that's what got me out of that hole. So then when I graduated and I moved back home, finding a job was hard. But what kept me going was writing and thinking about creating businesses, because I was dabbling into entrepreneurial endeavors with some people. They didn't pan out to obviously create, methods of income, but I was, looking to start a holistic beard oil, fragrant and natural fragrance, because like the girl I was partnered with, she created the materials like from either like her garden or her like essential oils or whatever. And she made some really good stuff. And, I think we were just really early on that marketplace, because I think if we did like a holistic fragrance or a beard oil now, I definitely think it would sell a lot better. So it was a great idea, just too early, but I hope she's doing something now with it. I think she would do really well. But anywho, so after college, it was tough finding a job, but then I found a job with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and I was working there from July to February, or January, I should say. And there was nothing wrong with it. It was just, it was a very emotional experience. I thought that helping kids with, cancer, terminally, you know, or, terminal illnesses, critically ill, critical illnesses. I thought that was going to be the most fulfilling thing. It turns out it was not. It was very hard, and I lost a lot of energy. I lost a lot of love, and I was not a good person. I was not a person you want to be around, because like I just felt like my life force was just drained from me. So I ended up leaving, taking the job where I'm at now, and I started editing my book, The Good and the Evil, when COVID hit, because I went on vacation. And as I come back from St. Lucia, beach, tanning, just drinking my face off, COVID happened. And I was, in my house for, oh my God, March to June. So like 3 months. And didn't I didn't do anything but write. Like I was dating someone, but uh, I wrote in my basement, like, and it was funny. Like I had kind of a crippling alcoholism going on during COVID, so I drank a lot, and I would write when I was drinking. For those of you that didn't know this, Stephen King was actually an alcoholic, and he would write a lot of his stuff when he was either blackout drunk or just very drunk. I didn't black out. Well, actually, that's a lie. I guess I did black out once or twice when I was writing, because I would wake up in the morning. I was like, wow, this handwriting sucks. But I was just like, when I could see the words legibly, I was like, that's some gold. So, yeah, I wrote that during COVID. And then I reached out to a publisher, got rejected by a few, but then I found one. And once I got that acceptance, created the editing, the book cover, everything, and then I published it. When was it? Is it 2020 or early 2021? But then I published The Good and the Evil, and getting that out there was pretty cool. And being able to sign with the publisher, I thought that's what I wanted. But looking at the royalty shares now, I'm like, dang, I wish I didn't give away my property like that. But you live and you learn, right? Which is why my purpose now for everyone is everyone keeps their IP. I want everyone to keep their IP. And then when you figure out the money aspect, you can figure out the royalties on your own. Like, you can do it on your own. It's very feasible. It's just like you got to get creative with it, which is why the mind mapping is such a pivotal point of the pillar model that I'm using. So, whew, yeah. And when I published that book, I had an interesting breakup with a girl. We only dated for a little while, but it was funny. She was moving away to New York, so I was there was no way I was moving there, so it was like whatever. But it did inspire a few breakup poems, like my Taylor Swift or Drake moment right there, writing about exes. But yeah, and then shortly after, I got into a relationship that lasted 2.5 years, almost. And there was definitely some physical abuse that was endured on my end, and some mental abuse and cheating that was also endured on my end. Um, but I wish the best for her now. But that was the wake up call to the masculinity, to getting back with God, to isolating myself, and to becoming a better version of Coop, to becoming conscious. Unfortunately, that relationship had to end. That's why I ended it. And my shadow work coach, when I worked with her, she challenged me on the relationship because I was telling her some things that were going on. And she told me a monster was the girl I was dating, because I talked about the monsters in me, which was a program I did with my shadow work coach. And there's definitely monsters within my inner circle. And yeah, my shadow work coach challenged me to look at my girlfriend at the time, and I didn't want to believe her. And then sure enough, things happened, and I'm like, wow, she was she was right. So it's crazy though, because like I'm thankful for all these situations, and that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I used to think I was a victim, but I'm not a victim. Yes, there was endured abuse in some relationships, but I know that was a projection of myself and my insecurity, or my limiting beliefs, or my generational curse of being betrayed. Like, that was all within myself. It was just a projection of that. And making someone an opponent was what I always did, because being betrayed, you always want to have an opponent, right? Or you always want to have, uh, I guess, like someone stab you in the back. That's why, like, I always had back pain too. It's just a lot of different things to look at, and but getting to the point now, been single for about 6 months now. Yeah, 6 months. Like, no dates, no nothing. Just pure, I wouldn't say pure isolation. I've definitely seen friends in those things. But like, not having like any sort of intimacy or affection from a woman this long, because like I was always going from dating one girl to the next girl to the next girl. And finally breaking that cycle has made me such a more enlightened person. And it's tapped into all this creativity because I wasn't giving my sacral. See where I'm going with this loop? I was giving my sacral away to all these relationships, whether it was time, money, energy. I'm not even talking about like sexual energy. I'm talking about just intimate, loving energy. I was giving that away. But now that I've tapped into it and I've honed it in, I'm able to create all these different things. And that's what I want you to have as the conscious creator. I want you to have all these energies come within you, and you can push it through your solar plexus, your heart, your third eye, and your crown, and just shoot it. Just fucking shoot it out of you and come up with your greatest ideas yet, whether it's the greatest song ever, the greatest book, the greatest painting, sketch, toy, like claymation, like TV show, movie, whatever it is. That's what I want to tap in with you guys. And that's why, like, with this group, it's not like this huge elaborate offering. It's pretty simplistic right now, and it's not really that expensive. Like, it's a very it's a very inexpensive membership, but the whole purpose of it is to create with you guys. I want to create with you guys. God wants to create with you guys. I want you guys to create with each other. There's one thing I've learned is artists want to collaborate with other artists, and that's just with all genres and facets. Like, I want to make music, so I'm a writer, but I want to make music as well. So if I could team up with a beats person, I provide the vocals for this person, they provide the beats. Shit, great mesh. I want to write a book and I want art. Artist creates art but doesn't have the words, wants to make a book. Boom, collaboration. That's what this is, guys. Like that, like here is it's a connector. But then also we're going to help those people that have great ideas, they just don't know how to express them. Because if I've sat in enough meetings with people, it's, oh, I want to do this, but no. Stop saying but. Fuck that word. Fuck the but. Actually, sorry, pause. Oh man. I might have to cut that out. But fuck that noise. Like, we're gonna eliminate but from the vocabulary. It's going to turn into and. I have this great book idea and I'm going to follow through on it and I'm going to find the money. I'm going to fundraise for it. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, like, it's going to turn into and. No more buts. No more buts. There we go. That's a better one. No more buts. And we follow through with our ideas. And we create. And we consume good things. And we become messengers for God, business owners for God, artists for God, musicians for God. We're doing it all for God. That's the whole point. And then we love every minute that we do it. And then we can make money together, break bread together, become a community together, stay at each other's homes, be a family, but it's not going to be a cult where you have to stay in it. And if you leave, you can never come back. It's not going to cost an arm and a leg. It's not all that bullshit. Like, fuck the bullshit. Will the price go up over time? Maybe. Probably. But it's not all about the fucking money. It's all about creating. And then when you have capital, you have equity in each other, and you're all making money, and you all quit your jobs, and you all do this shit. Now you want to create asset protection, and we're going to make our own fucking labels. Record labels, fashion labels, art studios, galleries. We're going to make all that shit. I'm going to teach you how to do it. Because I know how to do it. I don't fully know how to do it yet. I'm not going to bullshit you. I'm still learning, and that's why I'm not offering this yet, because I'm not going to offer something that you won't get the full scope of. So, who's with me? It's the revolution. It's the evolution. And we'll talk about investing your money in assets as well. We'll protect your assets. This group will protect. We will protect, we will provide, and we will conquer. But we won't conquer each other. We won't conquer anything. We'll just conquer. We are conquering ourselves, internal. That's it. And I'm so excited to do it with you. This has been a culmination of 26 years of spiritual evolution that's now transcending into a business. That's transcending to a collective group. Leadership. The only thing I'm going to say is thank you. Thank you, God. Thank you, family. Thank you, friends. Thank you, people I've met through different collective groups. Thank you, mentors. Thank you, professors, coaches, teachers. Thank you for telling me to never stop going, to never give up, to always speak. The people that told me I was going to do good things later on in life, thank you. Because I wouldn't have questioned myself if you never told me those things when I was rolling out of bed, doing my 9-to-5 job, living a robotic lifestyle. Wouldn't have done it without you. Thank you. Thank you, God, for everything. I have taken up a whole hour, which I was definitely planning on. So thank you for sticking with me. I love you guys. Hop on the group, register for the group, $24.99 the first month, $111 after that. You can come and go as you please. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. Let's kick ass and finish this week strong. All right. Deuces.